Hello everybody, and once again welcome to Synanomics. It's a beautiful Saturday morning in Melbourne with a cool temperature of 8 degrees Celsius. Last night, US market had spectacular run. Dow was up, Nasdaq was up, again on the AI boom. I call that gold rush for AI or gold rush for chip makers. Again, to name a few, Nvidia continued its run. Broadcom, who has got a huge order from Apple for their chips, was very high as well. And at the same time, a small company, C3AI, with a ticker symbol AI, who specializes in enterprise grade AI software, that was up 15%. So a lot of party going on in the AI space right now. So we have talked about that earlier, and I'll a little bit more focus on that later in more details. But today I was listening to Jane Fraser, who is the Citi CEO, and I was surprised to know that US has 4,700, yes, you've heard it right, 4,700 banks. And if some of the regional banks are kind of collapsing, it's not a big worry for anybody. And looks like there is a huge room for consolidation in the banking space in US, because by any means 4,700 banks doesn't make sense for any kind of country, even a large country like USA. Now the question that comes to my mind or our mind is that, hey, all this banking crisis and everything, is it a replay of 2008 financial crisis? And because US plays a very important role in the financial world, US banks actually, they process $4 trillion daily. Yes, $4 trillion. That's the GDP of Germany. Daily, with almost 5,000 multinationals. So look at the amount of transaction US banks are actually doing. But looking at the data, looks like 95% of the US banks' international operations are investment grade. Almost 85% of the corporate banking is investment grade. And also from the consumer perspective, it's pretty healthy. So from consumer and corporate perspective, looks like the banking system is very healthy. So there is no way it's a repeat of 2008 financial crisis. And that's why market is not actually bothering about it. And even the debt crisis that I covered earlier, the US debt crisis, the last day was 31st of May. Recently, Janet Yellen who is the Treasury Secretary, earlier she was the chairperson of Federal Reserve. Now she's serving as a Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen. She has written a letter to the Congress that the Treasury has funds up to 5th of June. So they need to make a decision before that. And the market kind of celebrated that, and that's why the market was pretty high, because they bought some time actually. So interesting to see how the sentiments run around. So if you look at the Indian market, for an example, is pretty much at the high, record high. Not quite there, but very close. So Sensex is pretty much at 62,500. Guys, this has been a spectacular run for the last 8-9 years. I'll recommend many of you to go and check that in the Google, how Indian stock market has performed over a period of time. And many of the foreigners and the foreign investors who think that investing in India could include some kind of depreciation of the currency, let me tell you, yes, there will be depreciation of currency, but Indian RBI, Reserve Bank of India, has been very, very cautious on that. They have been, in fact, in a buying spree for gold. And I'll cover that some more details later. So to cut the long story short, the index has performed extremely well. Just to quote some numbers, there are two important indices in India. One is, of course, Sensex. Sensex 30, another one is Nifty 50. Nifty 50 is pretty much tracked across because it represents the top 50 companies, and Nifty 50 closed at 18,400 plus, which is pretty much a record high. The record high was around 18,600, so they'll be very close to that. They're almost at 18,500. And just to give you a perspective of that, before the or just after the COVID pandemic in 2020 March, this index was at 9,000. It has almost doubled in 3 years. With that, I'll actually see you again tomorrow. I'll try to cover a few important topics for your interest. Thank you very much for subscribing and giving your comments. Please also write your recommendations. What would you like to hear? Again, under these 5 topics, 5 M's, remember: music, malt, money, motivation, and meditation. So I started with all these financial with the money part, and slowly I'll move into the other 4. So till then, it's Pankaj Sinha from Melbourne, and goodbye. Have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you.